iOS 15 is coming up very soon at WWDC 2021. But what will happen this year with iOS 15? The first step to understand what devices will get iOS 15 is the current minimum requirement in terms of specifications for iOS 14. Currently, the minimum requirement for iOS 14 is the A8 chip with 2GB of RAM, which is the iPad mini 4. If Apple drops the A8 chip, the minimum requirement would be the A9 chip, which translates to the iPhone 6s and SE on the iPhone side, and the iPad 5th gen on the iPad side. If Apple decides to drop the A8 and A9 chip, the minimum requirement will be the A10 chip, which would mean the iPhone 7 and the iPad 6th gen. However, Apple was still selling the iPad 7th gen as the latest budget iPad with the A10 chip just a few months ago. Therefore, it doesn't really make sense for that iPad to be the minimum requirement for iOS 15. For these reasons, it would make sense for the A9 chip to be the minimum requirement for iOS 15. Now you may think that Apple may increase the RAM requirement from 2GB to 3GB. However, if Apple ups the RAM requirement to 3GB, it wouldn't make sense since the iPhone 8 has 2GB of RAM, and Apple definitely won't drop that device with iOS 15. Furthermore, Apple has never had an X chip to be the minimum requirement for an iOS version. This is because there isn't that big of a performance difference between both chips for it to result in the X chip getting the update and the non-X chip not getting the update. For example, currently it is widely believed that the original iPad Pro 12.9-inch and the iPad Pro 9.7-inch will get iPadOS 15, which is heavily based on iOS 15. In fact, iPadOS does require more resources, so if Apple supports the iPad Pro 9.7-inch, the iPhone 6s and SE also have to be supported. Furthermore, Apple has given the iPad Air 2 updates for 6 versions, iOS 8 to iOS 14. If Apple gives the same amount of support to the iPhone 6s and SE first gen, they should go up to iOS 15, since they started at iOS 9. So in conclusion, my prediction is the iPad Air 2 will not get support, and the iPad mini 4 also won't get support. This is because the current minimum requirement for iOS 14 is not the 6s, it's the iPad mini 4. So once that's dropped, the 6s should be the minimum requirement. Also, since the iPad Pro 9.7-inch will likely get iPadOS 15, the 6s also would have to get iOS 15 since they have the same specs. While the A9X is slightly better, it doesn't result in a whole extra software update, as proven in the past since Apple has never pushed out an update only to an X variant of a chip as the minimum requirement. The RAM minimum requirement also won't be increased to 3GB since the iPhone 8 couldn't even get support, which won't happen. It's also unlikely for the iPad 7th gen to have the minimum chip requirement, since that iPad was still being sold as the latest generation just a few months ago. Apple also gave the iPad Air 2 6 major software updates, which if applied to the 6s and SE, that would result in the last update being iOS 15. Therefore, my final prediction for iOS 15 minimum requirement is iPhone 6s and iPhone SE first generation. On the iPad side, it will be the iPad 5th gen, and iPad Pro 12.9-inch first gen, and iPad Pro 9.7-inch. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.